I love what a diverse group. You're photographing so many different things. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. Good morning, Christine. We're just introducing in the chat and then listing your top 3 products that you are taking photos of.
Great, thank you.
All right, and we're just gonna go ahead and get started. So my name is Joelle, and I am one of the member relations advisors here at Retail Merchants Association. And we are here today to discuss iPhone photography, taking pictures with your phone. And gratefully, we have Jackie on the call this morning to just give us some tips and tricks around doing so. And then she'll also tell you how you can reach out to her if you need help with anything else. So I will pass it over to Jackie and let her give you all the tricks and tips and advice.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so we are discussing iPhone photography for products. So a little bit about me. I'm a social and commercial photographer. I have been in the business for 20 years. I started in DC, moved to New York to do fashion and product photography. In LA, I did portraiture, and then I moved back to DC, opened my first studio, and specialized in social, mostly social. So social would be bar and bat mitzvahs, weddings, galas, big corporate events. I also did a lot of commercials. So in DC, that's when I got involved in the food scene and started doing a lot of food and product photography. And then about 2 years ago, I moved to Richmond and deciding to drop a lot of the social and just focus on commercial. And I did one of those workshops where you like close your eyes and you figure out like where you want to be and what's your best self and exactly who you want to work with in your life. And I came away with, I really want to focus on small businesses and I really want to help them get to the next level. And that is what I've been focusing on for the last about 2 years. Because I truly believe in community over competition and that there is enough work for everybody out there. We just need to work together to get to the next level. And so my mission really is to help small businesses get to the next level. And I think together we can do that. So I work with companies, all sizes, to create branding and connection and engagement. I don't know if you hear puppies in the background. So we are talking about iPhone photography, social media, and showcasing products to increase sales. That is going to be what I'm trying to discuss today. Why do you need really good pictures? Well, because especially before COVID, people could go into a store and touch and feel and taste and figure out what they wanted to purchase. That's really not happening anymore, or it's happening on a much smaller scale. We really have to rely now on visuals to help purchasing decisions. So making those photos look amazing and as good as possible is really important to increase your sales. So product photography really is amongst the most important factors for online sales right now. And I want to help you. Let's build our sales, especially before Christmas, because I think this holiday season is going to be very unique in the sense that a lot of sales, holiday sales, are going to be coming from online. Okay, so iPhone basics. I'm dealing with the iPhone right now, not the Android. A, because I use an iPhone, but B, I think in general, iPhone is the most universal tool right now for social media. But if you have an Android, we can discuss that in a minute. But right now we're talking about iPhone basics. So you should know where your camera app is. So the camera app or the camera logo is right there. So what is the difference between photo and portrait once you get in the camera? And we're gonna keep going back to your brand. So it's very important to know what your brand look is when you're deciding this. Photo is going to have not a ton of depth of field. It's going to get a lot of things in focus. Portrait is going to have extreme depth of field, which means the front or whatever you're focusing on will be in focus, but everything else will be out of focus, and it's going to give it that like dreamy look. Two completely different looks, as you can see. And this is just quickly taken like on Halloween day. Okay, so now I want to talk about how to focus and what the iPhone does. So I did a little video. You can point to the thing that you want to focus on, and then you raise your finger up and down to increase exposure. So that's something that I don't know how many people know about. So again, if you want those English muffins to be in focus, you touch it, and then you can put your finger up and down, and that's what will focus on it. And then you can increase exposure. You can also go in and play with the brilliance, play with shadows. And those are my top things that I like to play with. I love to play with a little saturation, exposure, and sharpness, and black point. But we'll go over this. But those are the main things I tend to like to focus on. Let's go back to here. So with artificial light, the nice thing about artificial light is you can always control your lighting conditions. Window light is usually ideal though. With window light, you always want to face into the light. So you want the light source in front of your face. So with window, you're always going to face into the window. Again, with artificial light, there's different types of artificial light you can bring in. There are ring lights, iPhone lights, which just come on your phone, but there's also ring lights that attach to your phone. And I'm going to show you pictures of all this in the next slide. There's video lights. So video lights are a constant light source. They're usually battery operated, or you can plug them in, and they're a constant light source. I added microphones just in case anybody wanted to take social media videos or any sort of video and speak to your followers. I love the iPhone microphone is fine. The thing you need to know about an iPhone microphone though is it's not going to just single out your voice. It will also get the surrounding noise. So that's just something to think about. If you're in your store doing an Instagram live and you have customers coming in or out, you're going to pick up all that distraction. If you have music in the background, it'll pick that up as well. Unlike a lapel microphone, which you can get on Amazon for like $30, it attaches close to your mouth and it just picks up your voice, and the other sounds will dissipate. And then you can go and get like a $300 microphone that only picks up your voice and no background noise. But these are just very inexpensive options. So like an iPhone microphone obviously comes on your phone, lapel microphone, $25, $30 on Amazon. And then earbuds. Earbuds are probably the most economical way to go. So for instance, I have the earbuds in now. Or you can do the Bluetooth earbuds. I say economical, yeah, they're going to run you about $100 with the Bluetooth, but you can use them personally or professionally, and most people have them. So this is what I was talking about, the different types of microphones and light sources. So as you can see, these are the ring lights. Ring lights are used in social media a lot because they give such a beautiful light source. I'll use a ring light when I'm doing portraits of people, especially like beauty portraits. It just kind of lights up the whole face and doesn't give a lot of shadow. So these are different types of ring lights. You can put them on your phone, or you can get one that goes on a tripod. The bottom left is a video light, or excuse me, the bottom middle and left are video lights, and they're different types of video lights. Again, these are just constants. And then the bottom two are the lapel mic and some earphones. Placement. So if you are photographing people, employees, like kind of doing an employee recognition or meet the member Monday kind of deal. If you're taking pictures of people, you're going to have them stand in front of the light source. So they're facing the light source, but you want to always photograph them at eye level or above eye level. And I will show you some horrible pictures of me in the next slide about why you want to do that. And then with products, really the placement, you can do anything you want. The sky's the limit, but you do want to be consistent, and you want to be consistent because of your brand imaging. So if you start shooting from the side, just continue shooting side. Don't like get all funky and super artistic with it. Just keep a consistent style. If you're shooting from above, if you do like soup, if you make different types of soup and you're putting it in a beautiful bowl, I would just shoot from above. I wouldn't shoot from the side. Just shoot all your soups in different bowls from above. If it's coffee, I would probably shoot that from 3/4, which I'll show you in a minute. And that's kind of from like the top edge down. So a 3/4 is a top edge down. So it's not quite above, it's not quite to the side. It's a 45-degree slope. Okay, so why you light from behind versus light from the front. This was me yesterday. This is what I look like when I'm editing and working from home. So light from behind is in the first picture with the peace sign. It's not great lighting. Neither are great lighting, but one's better than the other. And I'm in the shadow. You want your face in the other side to be in the light. In the light also blends out any blemishes, blends out any lines. You're just nicer to yourself if you're in the light. I mean, that should be like the quote of the day, be in the light. This is a product shoot I did with my iPhone for my favorite nail polish. So the one on the left is behind. Again, product is in the shadow. From the front, the light is in the front. You can get really crisp, and that's your focus. So you can tell the difference between the left and the right. And they're both fine, right? But one's a little bit better than the other. Okay, below versus above eye level. I clearly have no problem making fun of myself. Okay, so my pet peeve is when I'm on Zoom calls and somebody's talking to me like this, and I can see up their nose. You never want to photograph anybody up their nose. And you just don't look as good. This is taken like 2 seconds apart from each other. I think I look like two completely different people. So below eye level, no bueno. Don't do it. Don't do it. Above or at eye level, yay. You can tell the difference. Okay, so this is more of the top-down stuff. So you can see the one on the left is that 45-degree angle kind of sideways slant that I was discussing. So with coffee, with cakes, where you want to see the top and the side, that 45-degree angle is going to be your friend. That was Cakes by Jen, and so we did a whole set with that. Everything else is top down, and top down would be when you just want to show the product and maybe some, if it's a whole spread. So for example, the middle top one was for the Fairmont DC hotel. They're doing a tea service, like a tea package that you can pick up and have tea at home since they're not doing tea anymore. But it's a whole setup, top down. Birdie's pimento cheese, she's doing different bundles for the holidays. So we did top down to show everything that comes into that bundle. Perch, same deal. Perch is doing some drinks to go, top down. And then same thing with Ames. He's doing that peanut butter, that spicy peanut butter is off the hook, but we did some dishes with it and top down. Now here are some to the sides, and it just depends on brand. Sorry, it's kind of making sense to do a top down for a candle. Oops, sorry. Let me just go back and see if it loads better. Well, maybe in a second. So, because I have 3 kids on online school right now, so we might be pushing the bandwidth. Here we go. So this is the side. So for the Fairmont, we did some side photos as well. But it doesn't showcase everything that comes in that package. But with food, you really want to show the detail. So it just depends on what you're photographing. You want to show the height, you want to show the depth. And so from the side works better for a lot of food choices. Okay, so editing. For filters. Try to stay away from filters. I think it tends to cheapen your product. So I would stay with bright, clean, crisp images. But once you start playing with filters, I believe it dates and it dates an image. Something that looks good in 2020 isn't going to look good in 2021 necessarily, or even 6 months from now, and with using a filter, and you're really dating that image from when you can use it. For your personal stuff, use a filter, I don't care, but for a product, keep it consistent and try not to use a filter. When you're editing, you can't edit it. Like, play with the edits in the iPhone, but don't go so crazy. So work with the exposure, work with the black point. That's going to create the black blacks and the white whites. Sharpen it a bit, and you can play with the highlights and the shadows. But those are the 4 things that I would start with. Don't get too crazy with the editing. Cropping. Feel free to crop the image. So just know that the 1:1 is a square image. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch, and that's for your feed. That can be for your Facebook feed. That can be for Instagram. That could be for LinkedIn. That's gonna be a 1:1 image. For a story, for your Facebook or Instagram stories, that's a 9:16. So that is a longer rectangle. And there's just something to keep in mind when you're editing. It is never fun when you take this incredible picture and then you put it into stories and realize it looks stupid because it's going to be cropped in such a tight way. Or same thing with the feed. You never want to take a picture and then realize that the crop just ruined your photo. So here is a quick video of me going in and just editing these little pumpkins. You can see at the bottom where the editing tool is. It is this little circle with all the dots around it. So pulling up the image, I'm showing you the filters. Again, as you can see, I just feel like this manipulates the filters or manipulates the photo too much. Like that's too orange, but I'm just showing you some ideas. So I'm playing with the highlights, playing with the brightness and the black point. And go back and forth. You're going to have to toggle. Once you do one, you might have to go back and do another. The fun thing with the iPhone is that you can also do all these like crazy lighting techniques. I wouldn't go there. just keep it simple. This is also part of the cropping. This is part of in the cropping pull down. And then here's the square, the 1:1, the 9:16. Yay. Okay. So I hope that just gives you an idea of where to find those things after you take the photo and play around with it. Each photo is going to need something slightly different. I'm going to show you a couple consistent feeds that I think look brilliant. And this is just for sale. This is just to get engagement, some sales, but have consistency. So Bon Appetit magazine, obviously they hire out all this stuff, but their consistency is amazing in terms of they shoot top down unless a photo really needs to be shot at a slant. Or they're showing something from the side, but 90% of the time it's a tight close-up and shot down. Excuse me. So let me play that. You can just see just the consistency. So when you're going through it, your eye can ingest it because there's not huge changes within it. So it tends to be a lighter or a bright, colorful background and shot top down. I think Salt Laundry does a great job management. They do a ton of online sales too, so when they plug in Instagram cart and some right from their Instagram store. And again, they've just kept a consistent feel. So it's bright white, clean and colorful. Okay, so product tools. When you're shooting product, you can have a couple different ideas. I personally like to shoot in the space where it's being sold. So if you're a retail store and you're it's peanuts, I want to show everything in the background. I want to show the roaster. I want to show all that stuff. not everybody wants that. So if you're going to do like Amazon store, they want you to have a white background. You can do it yourself. There are a couple ways to do seamless white backgrounds by yourself. And they're called light boxes. You're going to create your own light box, or you can buy one from Amazon. I think they run anywhere from like $25 to a couple hundred. And some of them come with lights, some of them don't. The whole idea though is to have a seamless white or black background. What I do is I shoot on a seamless and then I take the image out and put it on a transparency. So then that image can go on anything. That's just another level. So that's when you either spend some time in Photoshop or you hire out. But if you just need a white background, you can do it yourself. There are ways to do it, and I'm going to show you in a second. Or faux backgrounds. Faux backgrounds, if you buy a fake background for photography, it's going to be matte, which is what you're looking for, because otherwise light is going to reflect off of it and mess with you. It's either going to create more light on the product than you want, or it's going to be something that you're going to have to edit out in post-production. And that's a pain. The nice thing about faux backgrounds too is they're portable and it helps with consistency. So if you are sometimes working in the warehouse and you want to do some warehouse photos, and then you also want some photos in the retail location, or if you want some photos at the farmer's market, these things are pretty tight and you can bring it with you anywhere. Okay, so these are some homemade to professional light boxes. On the left, we have a homemade light box. They're using window light on one side, a white reflector on the left, and this is just a white long piece of paper. You can use one of those 99-cent poster boards from Michael's or Kroger or whatever to create a white seamless, and shot with the iPhone, as you can see in the bottom. Those little tripods are super easy and super great. You're just going to keep your iPhone on that little baby tripod and move your product in and out. Top, middle, top, right. Those are those professional light boxes. This one I think is on Amazon for about $35. It comes with lights, which is great because otherwise you're going to have to then purchase video lights, etc. It folds down into nothingness. It folds down really tight, and you can take pictures with a white background this way. I think this one also comes with a black seamless as well. Okay, and these are the backgrounds I was talking about, those like faux backgrounds that can travel with you. You can get them in all sorts of different finishes. So it can look like marble, it can look like wood block, it could look like anything, but they're just great and consistent. They're super handy. Okay, so there's so many different options in terms of editing your photos outside of the iPhone app. And then there's so many ways to push these things on social media, but these are my two favorite. And so I wasn't going to weigh you down with, the 20 different things you could use. Canva.com. If you haven't used it yet, check it out. I think it's very user-friendly. It is great for consistency. You can plug in your brand colors, your logo, all that good stuff, the typeface, and create everything from an Instagram post to brochures, to newsletters, to PowerPoint presentations, using your brand colors and your typeface. It's all in-house. It's like an in-house graphic designer. You're doing it yourself, but it's all there. There's templates that you can manipulate. So there's already design templates for all these different things that you just plug in your information and your photos in. And then you can manipulate it to the nines so it can really become your own. Hootsuite has been around for a long time. I think a lot of the kinks from different platforms have been worked out with Hootsuite. Find your favorite one. I tend to use Hootsuite. What's nice about Hootsuite is there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can boost your posts within Hootsuite. And they're great for like posting. So like pushing your posts out and your content calendar. So this is something else in terms of consistency. And I could have a whole different like talk on social media, but you can build out your content for a month. And I think, so I guess two things. So there's a lot of ways to take your photos, and you can do it however it works best for you and your staff. Little takeaways would just be block out time. So just block out time from like 9 to 10 on Monday mornings. And that's just the time that you're going to go around store or go around your office and take a bunch of photos. So you have photos for the rest of the week or the next 2 weeks. You don't have to do this every day. So, and then go into Canva, create your create whatever you need to create, or go into Hootsuite and write it all out. And so you don't even have to open Instagram or Facebook for a week. You do it Monday, you take some pictures, maybe Monday after lunch, you load them all up into Hootsuite, you write your copy, do your tags, and you're done. You walk away. I think it takes so much more time at the end of the day when you're doing a little bit each day, because if you're like me, my brain doesn't want to switch on and off. Like if I'm running my sales reports, if I'm running my numbers, and I'm like, oh crap, I haven't posted it on Instagram for 3 days. It's all about consistency. So this way it's done for you. So my biggest takeaways is consistency, and that is consistency in your social media posts, consistency in your photos, consistency in your brand recognition, just consistency. So if it's boring, but just stay consistent, because then it's going to be clean. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. You can have these really cool artistic photos, and that's great, but you also want clean, bright photos that show your product well. Content calendar in terms of social media, you can build that out days, weeks, months in advance, and it's ready to go. Keep with your brand style. So if that's like super dark and moody and like really artistic and black and white, awesome. Like that's awesome. Keep doing that. If it's bright, airy, and light, keep doing that. Just figure out what the style is going to be. So if you're not the one taking the photos and a staff member is, they can replicate it. And then baby steps. Don't go home and try all of this today. Baby step it. So maybe you promise yourself that next week I'm going to block out an hour of my time to do all my social media posts, or take all of my social media photos or product photos. And then I'm going to also write all my copy. Just baby steps. And remember, a lot of companies outsource this. So I'm not saying that you can't do it. I'm just saying that don't compare yourself with other big companies, because they outsource all of this. So if you need me for any reason, if you have any questions, my name is Jackie Schlosser. I own By Jackie Photography. My website is By Jackie Photography. You can see all the stuff that I do and all my photographers, and you can find me on Facebook and social, like LinkedIn, but really I'm on Instagram. That's where I've noticed that I get most of my clients from. So I spend the most time on Instagram, and you can DM me and ask me questions. If anybody wants to take this a step further, I'm offering some 15-minute sessions for everybody on this call. If you just want to talk about your specific needs. So just reach out to me and I'd be happy to discuss your needs. Or if you want to schedule a photo shoot, just let me know. And I do a lot of photo shoots for people, and then I teach them how to replicate those photo shoots.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jackie.
You're welcome. Sorry, I hope that wasn't like too fast.
No, that was great. And it's
Okay.
recorded for anyone who has questions or wants to go back. Let's see. We did have someone, Lena asked, what is the black point?
Black point is the darkest dark. And so in photography, it's capturing light. It's drawing with light is what photography technically means. But when you're in the dark room, you're reading the black point. So in the dark, it's a dark room, or photography term. It's just, you want the blackest black in your photo, and you want the whitest white in your photo. That's technically how it's a good black and white photo, if you have the blackest black and a whitest white in the same photo.
Okay.
So it's it's shadows. It's going to be the darker tones in a photo.
Okay. Awesome. Anyone else, feel free to unmute. Any questions for Jackie? I had a question. How do you know when to switch between angles? Like you said that the Bon Appetit magazine, they switched when it was appropriate. Do you suggest staying on one angle? How do you know when it's a good time?
I do suggest staying on one angle, especially in the beginning, like while you're starting to build trying to get comfortable and building your backlog of photos. I would stay with one angle, but it just depends on what your product is. So for food, I love top down or 3/4, the sideways slant. But I would just stick with one thing. Now, if you're photographing a 6-layer cake, that's super cool, right? And each layer is a different color and there's different icing. You want to show the side of that because that's the focus. But in general, top down, maybe for food, maybe 3/4, especially just while you're getting used to it. Remember that when you're shooting from the side, you're also going to get the background. So that also helps if you're shooting in a kind of an intense or tight space. So if you're in your kitchen at home, and you're shooting like the awesome thing you made for dinner tonight, shoot top down so you don't have to get all the mess around you in, and it looks like you're in a clean space. If you're shooting from the side, you're going to get all that stuff in the background. So you just have to be mindful of what exactly it is. Personally, I love getting all that stuff in the back. So if I'm in a kitchen, if I'm in like a corporate kitchen, and I love to shoot the dish and then see the chefs behind, like that's cool to me. But it really just depends on what you want to get in the background. I see any tips for outside of photography? Yeah. So again, you want to stand in the light. There's all sorts of things about like black lights, backlights, and side light and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to confuse anybody with any of those things right now. Be in the shade. You don't want harsh shadows and harsh highlights. So you're not going to get that in the shade. You will get that in the sun. So stay in the shade. As long as it's not noon, you should be okay. So the idea is that you want to shoot during the golden hours, which is early in the morning and later on in the afternoon. Because the light is softer, it's not going to be as sharp and it's not going to create such dramatic shadows. But otherwise, no. Do I find big differences? Yes, there's like huge differences between iPhones, like iPhone 8 versus like the 12 and the 11 right now. I have the iPhone something Max Pro. I don't know what it is. I'm not like a tech. I'm not super into tech. Oh, that's my babies. But yes, the lenses are incredible. I hate to admit this as a professional photographer, that iPhones take really good pictures. I gotta tell you though, like one thing that drives me crazy, clean your lenses, people. So just take a wipe, take one of those, I wonder if I have one handy, but a lens wipe that you get at like Costco or Target for your glasses and just clean your lens. I'm going to tell you, no matter what phone you have, you will take a better phone after that lens is clean. You think it might be clean. It's not clean when you wipe it on your shirt. It's just use a little alcohol swab and clean those lenses. But yeah, their iPhones have jumped tremendously with their lenses and what they're capable of doing. I wish I could say that the 8s are just as good as the 12s, but it's just not true.
Awesome. That's helpful.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go buy a new iPhone now or put it on their Christmas list.
Oh, great. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, everybody.
Any other questions from the group? You can put it in the chat or feel free to unmute. Anything? Well, if there's nothing else, then feel free to reach out via email and I can connect you to Jackie. Otherwise, you've got a couple extra minutes in your morning. So thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jackie, for all of the tips and tricks. And we will see everyone next week. We are going to have Barb from the Apple Cart on the call to tell us about fulfillment during the holiday season and maybe how you can team up with some other retailers and do curbside pickup or just get your products out since shipping will be kind of hectic this holiday season. So that's next Wednesday at 8:30 and there'll be an invite sent out this week so everyone can come to that. Mm-hmm. And again,
Jackie, I work with Barb a lot, so then we'll take pictures of those bundles that you're sending out.
There you go. Yes. Thanks again, Jackie, and thank you everyone for joining us this morning. Have a great rest of your day.
It was wonderful seeing you all. Bye.
You too, Jackie. Bye.